with some of the major clients in United Nations embassies and the rest of it. Between 2022 and recently, when I was reappointed again, I have been a consultant, and one of my major projects that I have worked with is an advisory role in Ministry of Water and Irrigation project, which was about $750 million. And my key role was basically risk management, risk assessment, and establishment of that consultancy firm, the fund of that project. And of course, after that, then I have undertaken a number of assignments. One of them was the South Sudan Pension Fund, equity purchase by pension fund, and they were acquiring partial equity with Cushbank. And they've requested me to come as a consultant since I started the banks and to give them objectively the value of the transactions. In addition to this period, I had also two other major consultancy. One of them was also linked to South Sudan, and basically on the same ministry, institutional development, Ministry of Water and Irrigation, as well as also the assessment of pension fund, carrying out diagnostic analysis on the system's governance and also whether the institutions are within, are doing what ought to be done on this aspect of its mandate, its objectives and mandates, and also the accountability aspect with the pensioners. So those are the key projects I have been doing. Beyond that, I have worked with a number of organizations, international organizations. To take you back a little bit, I was head of Oxfam one time in South Sudan. That was between 2010 and 2012 before I jumped to the establishment of the bank. Initially, I was the head of the finance. Later, I was taken as the head of the programs, head of the mission actually for South Sudan. Before that, I was the regional administration and finance manager for Oxfam, covering around 7 countries here, and I was based in Kenya. And before that, the regional I was covering is mainly the Somali, Ethiopia, Eritrea, partially South Sudan, Burundi. They're called HECA regions. Those were the regions that have got also a commonalities in terms of stability and humanitarian and development needs. Before that, I worked in Afghanistan with UNDP, and this is where actually I got the inspiration to apply for this job. And I worked as a regional finance and administration, and there was a specific unit at that time in UNDP that was actually working with the Afghan government and pioneered the election, the first maiden project of election in Afghanistan. And in that process, or in that project, basically I was in charge of the entire administration of that project. The project was mainly focused on 2 aspects. One is democratic aspect of the populations, or the concept that was supposed to be sorted with the Afghani people. And the second one was peace building and the demobilization process. So these were the areas that I got actually the first experience in, from the registration of voters to the announcement of the election results. And of course, the context was quite difficult. I'm sure some of you already have know how Afghanistan was that time. It was immediately the Taliban was dislodged. And there was a lot of issues that were involved, particularly in security aspect of it. So despite that, and of course there was also the first democratic election, there was complications and lack of knowledge, and people also seeing to some extent that this was a foreign initiatives that is coming to probably displaced what was not there. So that process was actually very interesting for me in my career, and we had actually a lot of stakeholders, and we had to make sure that the project sails through. People sees the good part of having opportunity to elect your leader and hold them accountable and so on. So these were the key milestones on this. Now, having said this, what will I bring on board for these particular positions? One, from the point of institutional development, I am quite vast, seeing institution like a human body, from the head, the mandate aspect, from the stomach, which is I sometimes equate to a system, and look at the limbs as a kind of the functional part of the institutions. And I think this is where I have got extremely well-versed knowledge in different organizations, and I will be able to see that the mandate is sharpened, the systems is aligned to the mandate, and the resources are aligned optimally to achieve the objective or the mandate of the institutions. This is one area that I believe that. The second aspect that I believe I'll bring on board is ethical management and governance. Probably I have not mentioned, I have served a number of boards during my career. One of them was Kenya Agricultural Research Institute. I have been one of the board members that was appointed that when Kibaki was the president. And it was very interesting time at that time that we were looking at amalgamating all the research institutions. And I was heading the finance and administrations component of it. And I was a member of that was appointed by that time the PS Kiome, Dr. Kiome, to be part of that team that were working from the research institutions to see that what is common, what is not common, how can we kind of marry all aspects of it and synergize these institutions so that they can have a slimmer, cost-effective, and more impactful in terms of the research in this country. So that also gives me an opportunity in terms of dealing with stakeholders and possibly change management. Because that process was a bit emotional. You can imagine going to institution and telling them that, you know, in next year you will not, things will not be as it is. Sometimes the comfort zone is shaken in this process. So I've also served in other boards. One of them is one of the major NGOs in South Sudan, which is funded by UNDP, UNHCR, and a number of embassies. So I sit also in that board, and I recently relinquished. Again, critically, looking at this issue of institutional development, I am one of the pioneers in South Sudan Bankers Associations, being vice chairman for a period of about 6 years. Started from the scratch. Again, as you are aware, that country is relatively a young country, so this was also another opportunity I got to build things from and organize the blocks of our institutions in a way that it can be aligned to its mandate. So maybe the last one, Chairman, I may have taken across the 4 minutes. The last one is the area of financial management and ethical approach to institutional leadership. And the financial aspect of institution is areas that I have actually deeply worked, and right from financial planning, budgetary implementations and reports and so on, all these institutions. Of course, I cannot also leave the element of managing multicultural team. So having said this, I completely believe that I have a value for IEBC at this juncture.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to ask Linda to pick up from there, please. Linda.
Thank you, Chairman. Now, based on your experience in your career journey, what skills and competencies do you think are relevant as a member of the IEBC Commission to be able to, do your duties as a team together?
Thank you, Madam. As I maybe quickly mentioned, one of the areas that is so relevant to this position is the area of governance. And sometimes when you look at the governance issue, it is a component of an institution. And the area that I have just said that I believe with conviction is the institutional development. That no institution at one point is complete. And my expert component that I can deliver is looking at institutional, look at it from the governance point, the system point. Now, the system is quite wide, but areas that I have got competent is the system, how the system is working in terms of the finance, value for money, in terms of efficiency of the technology components, and coming down to that point is the supporting resource for that system, which is aligning people appropriately within the system for an effective delivery. So this is the second part that I believe. The last part of it is, which is to me is fundamentally important from my experience, is ethical management. You do things with no string to attach from the personal perspective, and you do professionally in that aspect. So these are the things that I think is important, which will also has got significant impact in terms of the stakeholders and the external environment of the institutions. Thank you.
Okay, so what skills have you acquired outside what the law prescribes for purposes of the composition of the IEBC commissioners? What other skills have you acquired that you think will help you in the execution of your mandate? The specific skills that you have.
One is the financial skills. In a way that from the budgeting process, budgeting, planning, budgeting, executions, and reporting of the financial, in order to have the highest value of the financial inputs of the institutions. Second is the governance, which I said is aligning, implementing and being compliance aspect of the institutional, what is required as an institution. In terms of course, in terms of change management, I have the skill to analyze how the package of the institution is put in place and repackage it in a way that it's able to support effectively the mandate of the institutions. I'm not sure I've answered Madam, but to my understanding, these are skills that you cannot really specify the A or B, but they are a combination of skills that will lead to an effective delivery of the mandate of the institutions.
Thank you so much. You have answered my question.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Now I turn you over to Caroline Kituku to ask you some questions. Please, Carol.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning once more, Mr. Takoi. The Constitution and the IBC Act spell out the mandate of the IBC. What is in your understanding, in your own understanding, is the duty of the IBC in ensuring free and fair elections in Kenya?
In my understanding on the commissioner's duty on delivering free and fair election, I'm trying to paraphrase, Madam, my apology. I think the mandate of the commissioner to deliver free and fair election is a holistic process, and it starts from the first step of it is the voters' registrations. The second one is delimitations of the boundaries in order to. The third aspect is probably the continuous process of updating that particular registrations. Now, the fourth one, probably, which is, I believe, is to carry out free and fair election from the registrations, having the delineations of the electoral boundaries, then going into the establishment of relevant laws that will support the process through the parliament, then going into the campaign period or nomination process, because the commissioners have a role to play in terms of a significant role to play in terms of the nomination of candidate and political parties. Then the process itself of carrying the election, transparent and free and fair elections, instituting the required technology or infrastructure on human resources and all aspects of this. Then probably looking at ensuring that the stakeholders like the the other stakeholders, allowing them to also to credit give them a chance to carry out, monitoring and evaluation and so on. So maybe again, the process again, giving the voters or Kenyans an opportunity to vote and exercise their democratic right, then the whole process of the election, concluding it to the results and so on, then possibly also do, I think it's important that they do dispute resolutions, stakeholder engagements, voter educations,
okay,
quite wide.
Yes.
This is the the thing that I have in my mind. So I see it all those as the process of carrying out and
yes,
achieving a fair and free elections. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned something about being the duty of the IBC to make laws that govern the electoral system,
yes,
or processes.
Yes.
Is that really the mandate of the IBC? Please clarify.
And yeah, the IBC function is anchored on the constitutions and on, if I'm not wrong, is chapter 7. So it is clearly specified the election components, the whole systems, and as well as the IBC.
My question was very specific, sir.
Yeah.
Is it the mandate or the duty of the IBC to make laws?
The IBC contribute to that law because they come up with a proposal. Of course, they could come up with a proposal, and the proposal is They engage in the parliamentary judiciary committee, and that proposal is taken through the normal routine, and I believe that is they give an input to the legislatives, the parliamentary legislative aspect of it. It's already, the main part is anchored, the constitution is already anchored there, but I believe this is the governing aspect of this process. They have a contribution to it.
All right. So you mentioned that there are laws that govern. My second question, you mentioned that there are laws that govern the work of the IBC. What are some of these laws? Just mention them without explaining.
Yeah. One of them is the Electoral Act of 2011, the initial one, which actually governs internally how things are all processed. But the main one that I said is anchored in this is the Constitution, which is Chapter 7, and maybe if you look at even the Commission itself on its formation on Article 250, 252, and so on. So those, from that perspective, then we have got the law of, for example, I have seen the Civic Education, Voters Education Act, if I'm not wrong, which I saw it just 2017. So all these laws are there. Basically, this is what I breeze through.
What is the fountain law that governs the body that you're going to join, the IBC?
The Constitution of Kenya 2010. That is the major foundation of these institutions, and the Electoral Act.
Is there a law that governs the IBC particularly?
Yes.
As a body, as an independent constitution commission?
Yes.
Which one is that, please?
This is under the Kenya Constitution, I think 240, and the independent institutions, commissions.
Okay. Thank you so much. I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much, Madam Carol. Ambassador, kindly ask some questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Takoi, karibu sana.
Asante.
I was listening to you recount your experiences in Afghanistan and your knowledge of the electoral cycle from, you said, registration of voters all the way to the announcement of results. And I thought that if you have experience there, then you can actually share a lot here on how we can improve, because we learn from hands-on experiences from countries like Afghanistan, and we can learn actually much from such countries. And therefore, I was looking at all the High Court decisions on petitions, the Supreme Court decisions since the promulgation of our 2010 Constitution. They have helped us, both the High Court and the Supreme Court. They have helped us identify some really key, critical challenges that face the IEBC, without whose resolution we cannot move forward. We have been discussing quite a number of them. I want you to mention for us 3 succinctly, just list number 1, 2, and 3 very clearly.
Yeah, I think number 1 is technology, and particularly the transmission of tallying from the constituency or level or polling station level, particularly the presidential one. That has been, I have seen as was a major, the process itself. Number 2 is political interference. And number 3 is more on regularities of the elections.
Thank you. You have mentioned use of technology, and irregularities, and also interference. Those three are part of the key challenges that we are facing. If you are successful and you become a member of the IEBC, how are you specifically going to address those three specific ones you have identified? Just mention strategies.
Yes.
Yes, be succinct, please. Thank you.
One of the strategies that we'll have to really focus for the technology is basically to make sure that the results that are sent from the source to the talent center and in between is protected. And you use probably the most currently people are using. I'm in the financial sector. You know how money is sensitive. So one of the things as a strategy is that you deploy a technology that is highly protective and use the blockchain. Blockchain is a major, currently people use a lot in blockchain. Probably what blockchain means is from the time the information is leaving up to the time it's delivered, we have got inscriptions, aspect of monitoring and auditing component in the middle, and then finally we have got the result itself coming the way it was with no change, and all these kind of cyber protections and so on. So, but now that the technology itself is to deploy.
Please move on to the second.
The second one.
The second strategy.
The second strategy is the political interference. I think it is important that there are engagements, stakeholders engagement, including the political class, and the clear decisions that are anchored on the law and the protocols that have been established. The third one that I have mentioned is irregularities. So this it happens in a different point. So make sure that we make sure that specifically during the registrations of voters, data are captured. It's the no dead person that is voting. Data is cleaned. Then we look at the aspect of regularities in things happening during the polling day. Things are not really messed up. Not someone is not voting twice, or so all these things are now prevented in that sense and probably put up in things that can actually be penalizing them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Takoi. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I now move to FCPA Tanui to ask you some questions. FCPA, please.
Thank you, Chair. Bwana Takoi, you indicated that you are currently working in Sudan.
Yes.
South Sudan.
Yes.
As what is your current engagement?
I am a CEO of a bank.
Which bank?
Kush Bank.
Now, I was just looking at your documents. At some point, you are a consultant.
Yes.
So is a consultant same as being CEO?
No. As I explained, there is a gap. I left the same bank beginning of 2022. And from this 2022 to just recently, for my reappointment, I have been a consultant. So that is the blockage that is maybe carrying forward. And one of the institutions that I have also consulted on system analysis and system diagnostic was Kush Bank, when there was a transaction between them and the South Sudan Pension Fund. Yeah.
So what is your position at Kush Bank? Are you a consultant or are you the CEO?
I am a CEO.
You are the CEO.
Yes. Can I clarify again? I stopped being a CEO in early April 2022 and joined them 15th of January as a CEO. In between, I have been a consultant. I was not tied to anything. I've been based in Nairobi.
Okay. Now, you've told us, and my colleague here, our vice chair, asked you what skills you are bringing on board. And you mentioned two specific skills. One was governance, and then the other one was financial skills. And I want to pick on the two of them. I'll start with the governance.
Yes.
And specifically, governance of IEBC as a commission.
Yes.
Have you identified, I believe before you came here, you must have done your background study and established what are the governance challenges at IEBC, at the commission. So have you identified any governance challenges at IEBC, and how would you go about addressing those governance challenges?
Yes, one of the challenges that I've identified is a conflict among the commissioners. When I look at the 2022 election, there was two distinct verdicts. A group that was headed by a chairman, and there's another group. So, to me, this is actually a fundamental challenge for one particular board that has got collective responsibility. So, the first thing that I see it is to build a consensus, and probably what I see is that there could be a gap in terms of how the commissioners, the internal I could not actually trace the charter of the board to see how they are related to each other and whose responsibility is what and so on. I have seen particularly that the chairman is mandated to announce the results. Whether that itself is a collective or not is what I could not actually pick in. It's something that I will look forward to see the clarity between how the commissioners are relating. The other things that I have also had that is the dispute between the secretariats. I think if I remember, I read a number of articles when Chiloba was the CEO or the secretariat and the chairman, the late Chibukati. I think that shows me that again, in the element of governance, then it's important to relook the entirely how the governance structure is looked at. Of course, it is not actually an overhaul as such, but clarity within the governance and clarity in terms of the responsibility and effectiveness as a collective institution aspect. So that is what I saw. Possibly how to remedy is probably to look at the governance, the internal governance document. Of course, I might be talking something that is already there, but I will wish to see how the governance are relating and so on. But one skill I built along the line is the element of clear communication, consensus building.
I think that's okay. That's enough. Let's move to your second skill of finance.
Yes.
And one of the, for any commission to be seen as independent, it should also have financial independence. So let me hear from you. Is IEBC financially independent? Does it meet that criteria that it should have financial independence? And if yes or no, what strategies will you put in place? Thank you.
Yes, in terms of independence, yes, I have seen that the IEBC is not relying on being controlled in terms of its budget, internal budget, and sourcing for the fund, because what I see is that the three arms of the government, none of them...
First of all, is it financially independent? That's
yes.
I want to hear from you.
Yes.
It's financially independent.
It's financially independent.
Okay.
You see, I am trying, Mr. Tuni, to explain that IEBC is approval for financial budget is not going through the parliament, like the many institutions. What I saw is that it's getting its finance directly from the treasury. Now, it is debatable. Treasury is arm of the executive. It's headed by arm of the executive. So in that dimension, yes, it can manage its resource internally. It can source directly without at the mercy of the parliament. But behind the curtains, I see it is invisible hand in that aspect. And probably it cannot also raise all what it wants at the same time because of that limitation aspect. So independency aspect of its proposal going directly to the person who, the exchequer, I see it in that direction. But behind it, I see it still has, institutions have influence on this amount they can get.
Thank you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank
you, Chair.
Thank you. I want to ask James Evans Misati to ask you some questions, please.
Thanks, Chair. Mr. Tako, I wanted you to explain to us your understanding of the specific roles of the Secretariat, the specific activities that the Secretariat does on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you. And overall, first, they are running day-to-day activity of the Iebc as an institution. And specifically, could say that one of them is the voter registrations. So they are running this on behalf of the commission. So one of them is the voter education, voter registration, financial management, because I imagine there is an oversight aspect of it, and human resource management. So I'm also looking at the issue of the stakeholder management aspect.
You're aware that during elections, it's inevitable to have they hire clerks. What risks do you think exist when they hire such a big number of new staff, be it clerks, presiding officers, during the elections?
And one of the risks is knowledge gap. Because the period is too short, and you have got a large number of clerks that are coming on board, they may not be able to achieve what the commission or what Iebc wants on the ground. That I see as a risk that they can run. The second aspect that I see is probably image issues. And the image issues is that if a clerk who is on the ground, perhaps in Mandera, does a mistake, is seen it as Iebc. So there are inherent risk in terms of knowledge gap that may not be achieved at that time. It may be also, what I also see is that systematically the result may not be, people may not deliver because of that gap exactly what ought to be done in the process of the voting.
Now, from your experience, what do you think will be the measures to mitigate that?
I think the measures are of two folds. One is adequate knowledge transfer. Two, and this knowledge transfer is also touching the equipment that they will use, how they engage the voters, how there's element of behavioral aspect of human that also need to be included. There's element of the code of conduct and so on. But I imagine everybody signs code of conduct. How much it is internalized at that aspect, I of course cannot evaluate at this point from here. But I imagine that rolling out that code of conduct on the ground in that short time with that number, there is element of non-compliance into that aspect. So how to do it is proper knowledge transfer. Second is that you also do the selection well without interfering of what I practically know is that there will be a lot of interference in terms of community pushing these people, politicians, and so on and so on. But I imagine that that process needs to be carried out fairly and neutrally and professionally. So that to me is a very crucial aspect of it. Yeah, and then we look at the exit. And those clerks, how do they exit at this point? And do a documentation at that point in a way that the same person who did the many mistakes last time does not again come back to the same institutions and have this. It's not a punishment issues, but that gives you an opportunity next time to train these people adequately and correctly. This is what I see it as an aspect of it.
Thanks so much. Chair.
Thank you. I want to ask Fatuma Saman to ask you some questions. And, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Ahmed Sheikh, what is your assessment of the IEBC stakeholder engagement as it is now, then particularly in the electoral processes? And do you find it effective?
No. Thank you, Madam Fatuma. So let's maybe quickly just run over through who are these stakeholders. And because they're very diverse, look at the political parties, I look at the people, I look at the media, I look at the NGOs or civil society, because civil society in Kenya is known as one of the vibrant. I mean, that also does a lot of work. So when I look at it, I think IBC engaged, but more importantly, we are looking at the Kenyans, the voters themselves. So I think much is needed for the tie between IBC and voters, because I always see, I was part of a voter last time. I saw a gap, a huge gap, why people even are voting. People relying more on clan factor or emotional factor rather than the person internalizing. They said, I want to have exercise my democratic process. So I think this stakeholder tie between the voters and IEBC is, in my assessment, is an area that can actually be improved a lot. Aspect of the civil society, I see it fairly good, but I still see that it could have been improved in terms of clear communication, stakeholder strategy. This strategy is very crucial. How you have to do, the non-state actors and the states, a strategy that how you will engage them. And one of the issues that I always see is the engagement of the media and how IBC engages the media and how do they capitalize the technology and so on. Because a lot could be jeopardized because of the wrong informations or misinformations. I think there is a strategy that will be required to be drawn so that effectively the stakeholder information is accurately moved from IBC side to the public. The political party, I think it is fairly done. Because I don't have empirical assessment on what percentage and so on, but I see that as an important. But I think it's important that just to pick this point, I was looking at the statistics on the Kenyans' trust with IBC, even including the coming election. I look at the Statica report 2023, and said the Kenyans trust only 20. They trust that IEBC is going to hold a credible election, only 23%. And I looked at also recently, I think it was 16th December 2024, Infotrack report saying that only 26% of Kenyans trust that the IEBC is going to deliver free, fair, and credible election. The percentage was 26%. To me, that is huge concern, yes. So I think that could not have been that way, but I think I see stakeholder engagement missing it. That may not be what IEBC is at this point. Yes. So I see that engagement, the stakeholder engagement, having a huge, significant, requires significant improvement and significant gap at this point.
Me and you come from Mandera.
Yes.
When you look at the members of the public participation in the electoral process, do you find it genuinely well distributed like the rest of the country? And what do you think are the issues in terms of public participation in the process? And what ideas do you have around improving that? And generally, when you think of Mandera, not only Mandera, but the far-to-reach areas.
Yes. But let me say, Mandera is, what I see is that I think the turnout is quite low. Reason is that practically a pastoralist will value his cow or camel than going to do an election. It doesn't really internalize the value of democratic process. So that to me is an area that will require really a voter education to make people understand how important this process is. The second thing is I see is voter apathy. Mainly what I see is that people are disinterested, particularly the young people. And last time I saw a group of people just seated outside. I said, but you are not voting. It was a voting day. I said, no. But I told them I come from all the way from South Sudan to cast my vote, and I'm leaving tomorrow. But you guys are seated here. So basically what I see is that there are specific young people who have not taken keen interest on the importance of a democratic process. What I also see is I don't know how much we can actually invest in, is the election itself, the way it is structured, is not very conducive for people to do voting. Why should someone travel all the way from Nairobi to cast his vote? Why can't I have just a technology that I can log in and vote? You know, my constituency is Mandera. I mean, my voting polling station is Mandera. It was just to choose and vote it. I think this is an area that the Commission could do better in terms of making election easier. Because if I travel here, I spent 20,000, and coming back is 20,000. I stayed there. So when you look at financially, it's draining. So I think the Commission should do better in terms of voting infrastructure. I know effort has been made in the diaspora, but it also contributes even within the country. So the low turnout is lifestyle, the business, the voters' empathy. People don't see the democratic value of doing all what we are doing. But again, there also a risk, the security risk in those areas. You know, Madam Fatuma, it's risky, for example, if you are in Elwak to travel along the Lefi Road, perhaps, or through Ramo Road to Mandera. So people will always look at that, all those inconveniences to cast their vote. I wish there could be, even the registration aspect, I wish there could be a mobile voting process in those kind of, perhaps, I don't want to really to use the word marginalized as such, but those areas that are a bit challenged to to deliver democratic process.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I ask Nicodemus Bore to quickly also bring his questions. Nicodemus.
Thank you very much, Chair. I want to engage Takoi because he's a financial expert. And I had you engaging with the FCPA Tanui on matters finance. And one of the things you said is that the IBC does not get its funding from Parliament. Can you please clarify that?
It's what I saw from the literature that I read is one of the independency stone for IBC is that it gets its budget directly from the Treasury. I might have missed perhaps an important point, but this is subject to also the to Auditor General to do the compliance component and so on. So that element of independence is what I was focusing a lot. Perhaps to put it in this dimension is that probably it goes through the Treasury and then come to the approval on when the Treasury submit the Treasury submit the proposal, the budget proposal in June in every year. That is my understanding. But what I did not see is the link between IBC scrutinized its budget process before it goes by the budgetary committee of the Parliament. So that is what I see as a difference from other institutions, proving that its dependency is more on directly to the Treasury. And of course, the Treasury will submit now the budget proposal to the Parliament for approval purposes. Yeah.
Now, you said you worked in South Sudan for a long time.
Yeah.
And how many times have you voted in the last few elections?
How much?
How many times have you voted in the last few elections?
I've never missed.
You always vote?
Yes.
And I've heard you mention about the distance to travel from Nairobi to go and vote in maybe far-reaching areas.
Yes.
But you consider that there are locals who can vote from within where you come from?
Yeah, definitely, yes. So there are people who can vote there, yes.
So you are considering the person who is moving from Nairobi to go and vote in Mandera?
Not only that, Mr. Nicholas, so Nicodemus. So what I'm talking about is that what I know is there are significant number of voters, perhaps in different places in the Republic of Kenya, and the only way for them to exercise their democracy and to choose a person in Mandera, they have to travel and physically vote there. So there are large numbers of people voting in Mandera here in Nairobi, others are in Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, and so on. This is generally what I am logistical challenges that could be addressed through current technology. If you have an M-Pesa, if M-Pesa can be managed from here, or why not manage from here and people vote in the rural area?
Thank you. Now, do you know the vision and mission of IEBC?
The vision, what I saw is to deliver credible, free and fair elections. That is what I saw in order to enhance of course I could paraphrase the way I'm looking at it, to enhance the democratic space of the country. But when we look at the mission, the activity is to conduct the election process, as well as the limitations of the electoral boundaries. So this is the two. And I saw a bit also very good core value of it. Hopefully that is what could be achieved at the end of the day.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Professor Adams Olong.
Mr. Takoi, you have throughout your presentation said that one of your skills that you are bringing to IEBC is financial administration. The joke in Kenya now is that budget of 62 billion really attracted so many people to apply to be part of IEBC Commission. As a financial administrator and expert, what comes into your mind when you see such a budget and you consider that Kenya's election is considered as one of the most expensive? With your financial expertise, when you see that budget, what comes into your mind? Is it okay? Is there something wrong with it? Is it just right?
Thank you very much, Prof. When I saw that figure, actually, I divided the number of voters and see what will be the cost for one person to vote. I look at because we have to be driven from empirical factor. I look at in end of the previous election, we had registered voters 22 million. 22 million Kenyans were registered. And possibly, when I look at the growth in the registration, I saw it's more or less 15 to 18% from the previous period that I saw in the record. And when you divide that figure, I was a bit surprised. I said, this is on the high side. But again,
what figure did you come up with?
If I just conserved this, I just divided this possibly 20 to 62. Probably we're talking about, was it 30,000? 3,000 per person. So if it's costing you 3,000, and I looked at what is the cost for the US to vote, because you have to do a bit of comparison. And I looked at also other countries. One of them was Rwanda. And I looked at also Somaliland, because Somaliland has also, recently they had an election. So I found that we are much, and look also South Africa, of course.
Can you tell us the figures in those countries? Because that comparison won't make sense to us unless you tell us the figures.
So I want to tell you that in South Africa, we are talking about 480 shilling per person to exercise his democratic right. I look at the US, and it's almost negligible on how much it will cost. It is about $3 per person to vote. And I looked at the Somaliland, because it's easy to get, because entirely is funded by multinational donors. It's costing them about 1,300 to vote. And here we are, and we are not starting institutions. This is an institution that has already infrastructure on the ground, and you're telling me to spend 3,000 per person. I find it a bit high, and it could be something that really needs to be looked at. It's either that whatever we do in last election, we throw it away, and we do another one, whether it's technology, whether it's people, and so on, or our election infrastructure, our election point is so much logistically constrained that we can do that kind of cost. I believe something can be done and relooked at this. Of course, the first thing that I will do is to look at this if I'm appointed on this. Yeah.
That budget came from the Secretariat because we don't have commissioners on board right now. And most likely they were basing that budget based on previous estimates that have been done when commissioners are on board. So if Ahmed Dakoy, if we nominate you and Ahmed Dakoy is the one who's going to bring the financial administration expertise in the commission, can you just tell us roughly what your parameters would be? Because the whole country was agape, except those who want to go to the commission, and so this thing looks good. But the rest of the country was like, aye. Yeah. So you are there, and you have your chair, and you're having the first meeting. And one of the agenda is financing the 2027 election. Just give us a feeling of what your proposals would be. Because the country was numb when that figure came out.
Prof, with all due respect, sometimes when you're outside and when you are not so much privileged to the information, how it, because normally finance figure is a build-up. The figure you see is a build-up of from the polling station up to the national tally. With the recognition of our vast and perhaps in remoteness in some areas and infrastructure in terms of technology, the roads and so on, I still believe that our election should cost 1,000 per person, not more than that.
Thank you.
Let me just follow up on that, Prof. You did comparisons and said our elections should cost much less, 1,000. How many elections do we conduct in one election in Kenya?
And there are 6 of them. The presidential, the governor, the senator, the women rep, the member of parliament, and the MCA.
How many does Somaliland conduct?
It more or less was 2. No, 3 of them.
The U.S.?
U.S., basically my comparison was a presidential election.
So we are comparing apples and eggs.
To some extent, is that a differential? But Chairman, you know that you have got 6 clerks. I mean, you don't have 6 clerks for each one.
And ballot papers?
The ballot papers are different. But how much will this paper will cost the chairman? I mean, if I put it 6, because I made some considerations on, that is why I'm putting it 1,000 beyond the $3, 300 shillings or not. So I still think we can synergize it. Even doing it together will be better. We can synergize in that aspect to have a less costly election. And I am not very much propagating in terms of how we are doing it right now. I'm looking at using technology to reduce our cost.
Because I don't want you to make a commitment here, then once you get there, you realize that you can't achieve 1,000. And we'll say Takoi lied to the panel to get a job. And after he gets the job, he's not able to deliver. Prof, please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you. I think please take that chair's caution very, very positively, because you see, you'd have to know that what line items is making this cost shoot. I think one of the things I've heard people say is that our ballot paper has more than 8 features, for example. Yeah, 7. You would have to look at what features do the others have, for example, and what is the cost implication of having those many. There'll be a lot of variables. I think that's what Chairman is cautioning you. My last question. You talked throughout again of ethical governance. You kept on talking of governance and you'd bring ethics to it. If you are to be successful, what are some of the measures that can be put in place to ensure that the decision-making process in the Commission are ethical? You know, we've heard of the chicken gate, and there have been so many other cases insofar as Iebc is concerned.
Thank you very much, Prof. It's actually some major things that I have built up with my life in terms of doing ethical decisions. How do we do it? Number one, we are not influenced in personal interest, whether monetary or whether positions or so on. So we have to do things. We have to put the interests of Iebc in the center of our decision. That's number one. Number two, we have to scrutinize the procurements. While we go through the routine procurement process, it's important that we are well informed the costing of those things that we are given their proposal on the table. So we don't do it blindly. Even if we have 3 and our procurement department gives us 3 proposals on the table, it's really crucial that we are aware the cost, generally the cost of those material or those activity or those services. I think knowledge-based procurement evaluation is of crucial essence at the Commission level. Number 2, we don't do things very arbitrarily. I am almost certain that Iebc has got a very elaborate legal procedures, procurement procedures, cost management procedures. So, and we don't adapt it to our situation in that aspect. We do it as and how it is, put it objectively on in those implementations of those framework of operations. And more, again, the ethical aspect is we don't allow to be influenced in any way, in any aspect. I know sometimes when you put that kind of statement, as the chairman was saying, I'm not a politician chairman, I'm a technocrat chairman, and what I say is not also a very superficial communication as such. It's more on what we know and what we have looked at in the market. That we are not influenced in terms of the suppliers, the political class, within the institution, the commissioners themselves, and also the Secretariat. To me, objectivity is a key issue when it comes to ethical delivery of a decision.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Prof. Please finish up with the last 2 questions, please.
Ahmed Akoy, you have worked in South Sudan for some time now, so you know South Sudan well. How many vice presidents does South Sudan have, and which one is currently under house arrest?
We have five vice presidents. I don't know whether this word plural, but there are 5, Prof. And Riek Machar is now under arrest, who is representing
Which county other than...
Let me qualify. Let me qualify that statement. I have not seen also an official release of the government on that circumstance. I've only seen on social media on that aspect. So I should not be held accountable for that statement.
Very well. I can see you are going back there, so you have to take precaution. The second question, which county other than Lamu has the fewest number of constituencies?
It's yellow. With the two, I saw it was 281. With Lamu 281,
no,
289.
No, I'm talking of constituencies.
Yeah, Lamu. Lamu has, no, not Lamu.
Which county other than Lamu has the fewest number of constituencies?
Cielo has 2, yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Still.
Thank you very much, Mr. Takoi. We want to thank you for spending this time with us. We know that it has been a sacrifice for you to come from the diaspora, and your coming is a representation of our diaspora community that also is a constituency that makes 300 constituencies in our elections, and so thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you.
Do you have any question for us, kindly?
Not really a question, but maybe I will say a closing remark, if you allow me, Chairman. I know you are here to get best out of that interview, and I know that why this forum is so open is actually to build up and address the trust element of the election process in this country. So it is really my beseech that competency and credibility is given an opportunity as an outcome of your process today and to the end of this season, so that building up this trust, which is not going beyond 26 or 30, goes beyond 70. So I really look forward, and I am almost certain when I look at the kind of the diversity and the kind of representation here, you will achieve this. But again, I will just emphasize that this is what we look forward to see. Because I had just a text from a friend in Spain telling me that are you helping parties or are you helping specific interest group? And I said, no, I'm just want to do my professional job. That's it. So that's what we all look forward to. And I want to close, and I want to thank you very much for giving me really this opportunity to sit in front of you and answer your questions. Hopefully, I've answered some of them. Hopefully, I will fail to, but I really look forward to the outcome.
Thank you very much. Just know that you have given us a headline. You have promised 1,000 shillings per voter. Blessings to you. Remember to pick your certificates as you leave. Yes. And have a blessed Eid al-Fitr ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Blessings to you. The notebook is yours. Most likely you wrote some things in there. Just speak it, yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Those members of the public who had come, thank you for coming. We appreciate that you took time to participate in this process. Thank you very much. Yeah. Asante. Can we have our next candidate come in, please? My colleagues? Fine, thank you. 5 minutes? Okay, 5 minutes to stretch, and then we take the next candidate. Sawa.
Forget past mistakes. Forget failures. Forget everything except what you're going to do now and do it. William Durant.
What are we looking at?
Thank you guys for joining us for this unforgettable night.
Your order is ready. Paw Patrol is on a roll.
It's Max Verstappen in the lead. The megastar is here. Absolutely sensational.
Let's go! We should always live like this.
Get unbelievable entertainment that is unbelievably easy to own. Get and stay connected to DStv.
Discover. The world. How it was. How it is. How it will be. Around you. Discover the world around you with us.
There are no secrets to success. It is the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure. Colin Powell.
Mwaka huu, shindano la balozi wa Radio 47 limekuja kivingine vingine. Tunateka anga za kila kaunti mwezi mzima kuwatafuta na kuwatuza mabalozi 4 wa bonge Bonge la Radio. Ni balozi wa Radio 47 Boda Boda Edition. Yupi wa Nduthi ni mkali wao katika kusikiliza na kushabikia bonge la redio Radio 47. Shilingi 10,000 na zawadi nyingine nyingi zinamhusu. Follow Radio 47 Verified Facebook page na usikilize vipindi vyetu, ujue jinsi ya kushiriki na kuwashangilia mabalozi wetu. Kila Ijumaa ndani ya Breakfast 47 ni balozi wa Boda Boda wa Radio 47.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50 going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
Halo, halo, nimekuja na tangazo. Muoneni kwa macho, ameifunga milango.
You want a bad girl, utaeza na nani? Bad girl, utaeza na nani? You want a bad girl, utaeza na nani? Bad girl, utaeza na nani?
These beautiful things that I've got, please stay. I want you and
going today.
Just use your imagination.
Go, go, go!
My family is the only thing that matters to me right now.
This is the stuff that Mimi dreamed about.
These guys are the best.
GOtv is ready to take you from your hometown to roaring stadiums and even on international adventures. So let's go together, from home or on the go with GOtv Stream.
Sounds like a great idea.
Woohoo! GOtv. Love it.
Hey kids and families, get ready for the most fun-packed show around, Kids on the Block. Join us for awesome music, magical storytime adventures, and super cool arts and crafts. Plus, we pop tasty treats in our cooking corner. Learn, laugh, and create with us. Kids on the Block, where every day is a brand new adventure. Don't miss it!
Looking to buy, rent, or invest in property? The Realtor is here to guide your every step of the way. Join us as we explore Kenya's hottest real estate markets, uncover hidden gems, and share expert tips to help you make the best property decisions. From luxurious homes to affordable rentals, The Realtor has it all. Tune in and turn your property dreams into reality. The Realtor, your ultimate guide to real estate in Kenya. Tuesdays, 6:30 p.m. Don't miss it.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Betty Kialo, and close to a year I have been your driver on this Friday.
Kenyans have been really missing you so much.
Let's buckle up as we rave into the weekend with elegance, energy, good vibes. We also have the man himself, Willis Ochieng. And you know what? As I rave into the weekend, Willis, do you say rave or do you say rave? Which is which, Willis?
You say rave.
On Saturdays, we'll be having sizzling conversations.
I am the chair of this selection panel. My colleagues here will introduce themselves, then after that we'll come to you. Madam Linda, please.
Good morning, Madam.
Good morning.
My name is Linda Kiome, and I'm the vice chairperson of this panel. Karibu sana.
Madam Alamita, habari asubuhi.
Salama, Madam Alamitu.
Alamitu. Sorry, naomba msamaha hapo. Naitwa Bwana Andrew Tanui, mwanachama wa chopo la uteuzi, na karibu.
Good morning, ma'am. Caroline Kituko is my name. I'm a member of this panel.
Good morning, madam. My name is Adam Solo. I'm a member of the selection panel.
Thank you.
Good morning, madam. My name is Nicodemus Bore.
Asante.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatuma Ali Saman, a member of the panel.
Good morning, Madam Jatani. My name is Koki Muli Grigno, and I'm a member of the selection panel.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning, Alamitu.
Good morning.
My name is Evans Misati. I'm a member of the selection panel, and karibu sana.
Asante sana.
So welcome to tell us who you are, a brief profile of yourself, and why you think you are the best candidate for the position of member of IEBC. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the selection panel. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present myself before this panel. My name is Alamitu Jatani. I am married and I come from Marsabit County. I am an economist and a finance person by training. I'm a social worker by vocation, and I'm a tech enthusiast. In academics, I have a Master's of Business Administration and a bachelor's degree in economics and sociology from the University of Nairobi. I also have a diploma in project management. This has given me a solid foundation in public administration, corporate governance, and planning that has helped me have a career path that spans over 20 years. In my earlier years after graduation, I started my career as a young banker with Consolidated Bank of Kenya Limited. I started at the Trade Finance and Settlement Department, where I grew to become a relationship officer. During my work, my 7 years at Consolidated Bank, there were two major activities that took place that really changed my perceptions on tech. The first one was during the change of the core banking system by our bank. I was a member of the team that represented my department in giving the parameters that were required in trade finance and settlement. Later, there was a transition by banks, and central bank was capping the checking system to issuing of checks that were less than 1 million. So anything more than 1 million required to be transferred real time. So I represented my department, and I was part of the bank that saw the transition of what now is called the RTGS system. It may look very easy now, but at that time it was a new technology, and people were used to clearing checks in 4 days, but it brought changes that now are felt. After that, for a short period of time, I joined Quantibill Consult on an administrative role where I exercised my finance and administration. I was able to help them in creating of budgeting programs, planning, and administration. Later, I joined Geothermal Development Company. It is a state corporation where I was employed and was a team member in the corporate planning and strategy department. Later, I also moved to the project planning department. At the geothermal GDC, I was part of a team that was tasked with project management and planning. Notably, we handled complex projects, and there was a program where I was a team member. It was a KfW-funded €8 million program, which was multifaceted. It required engagement of different sectors. It required the engagement of different sectors, public and the private. At that, I was exposed in issues of community engagement because of the nature of the project and what it required to be done. I worked for Consolidated Bank for 5 years and later started my own organization, a foundation. This was backed by my experiences as a young person growing up in the marginalized areas. There were issues that were key and were felt in the community, like issues of bad cultural practices, lack of mentorship, career guidance. Through this program, I was able to come up with a program that helped youth, women, persons living with disabilities to be able to engage them and help them. I also use this platform for and mediation amongst the people of Marsabit. Currently, I chair the County First. This is brings together spouses of governors in Kenya. It is non-political, it is non-religious, and it brings these spouses with a common goal in order to advocate for issues of social justice and equality in our community. The foundation and the association has exposed me to greater leadership skills where I have been able to interact with different stakeholders at different levels, non-governmental organizations, government agencies, people and communities in order to bring impactful programs. Through this journey, at the County First Ladies Association, we've done big projects, and notably is what we were able to advocate for issues cancer, and we were able to open 19 cancer screening centers across the country. Our voice in the cancer advocacy was also spearheaded the uptake of HPV vaccine amongst girls in our country. The foundation has also helped people speak about issues of culture that were earlier not spoken about because they were given high prevalence. So far, I've trained over 2,000 girls in that sector. Mr. Chairman, given this opportunity, I bring about a multifaceted skill set in finance, corporate governance, and I will be able to be part of a team that is tasked with the core mandate, according to the vision of the Iebc, of bringing up a free, fair, and credible election. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I would like to hear a little bit more on the 90 cancer centers. This is personal for me because I am a survivor of breast cancer.
It's 19.
19?
Yes.
Okay.
The issue of cancer has been rampant in our community. So as an association, we felt that somebody needed to add a voice to that issue, especially on the issues of breast cancer and cervical cancer. They are leading cancers in the country, but if caught early, they are treatable and manageable. And they are also preventable if girls are vaccinated. That's how, based on that, we added our voices and we pulled resources together with different organizations, including the Ministry of Health, and identified, and we are still doing others. Thank you.
So where are the 19 scattered across the country?
We have in Kisumu, Nyandarua, Marsabit, Taita Taveta, Isiolo, Kirinyaga, along that line.
And you've been to those centers yourself?
Yes.
So it means you have a knowledge of Kenya by virtue of traveling to those centers?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Madam Linda.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Alamitu, this panel appreciates your wealth of experience and proactive and transformative leadership, especially in issues of social welfare and gender issues of women, and of course what you have just told us about cancer initiatives. But in the composition of the Iebc Commission, there requires to be professional qualifications, which of course you already possess those, but besides
Okay, you can proceed.
Thank you. I bring strategic management skills. As an organization, we need strategic directions in order to achieve our objectives. We need to know how to plan for issues that are awaiting us as we go into this assignment. So one of the skills that I'll be bringing is the strategic planning. Another skill is the governance skill. For an organization to be able to work properly, then proper good governance frameworks must be able to exist. The issue of accountability, transparency, the rule of law, all this must have been adhered to. I bring a skill that will be able to enhance these issues within the Commission. And of course, I've been a leader in my own right, in the organization I chair, and even in the teams that I've been working with. So, as part of a team spirit, and I've said that when I was working for the geothermal company, we were working as a team to be able to achieve an objective. The Iebc requires team spirit to work together in order to achieve its objectives. I thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I turn you over to Caroline Kituku to ask you some questions about elections.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning once more, Miss Alamitu, and well done for the work you're doing for the women and girls of this country. Can you explain to the panel the legal framework that guides the elections in Kenya insofar as the counting, tallying, and transmission of result is concerned?
Thank you. The legal framework that guides us, number one, is the Constitution of Kenya 2010. We also have the Election Act, we have the Political Parties Act, the Iebc Act. All this put together guide us in the way we conduct our elections.
Thank you. So let's go to the Elections Act, and using that legal framework that is established in that act, explain to us the processes or the legal requirements in relation to counting, tallying, and transmission of results.
Thank you. In relation to counting and tallying, there is a requirement on the times that the voting process starts and when it closes. Once the closing takes place, and then from that process on, the counting of the ballot paper starts, and then the filling of the forms, as have been agreed on, as has been already communicated on each of the candidates. And once that has been tallied, there are those that are announced at the polling stations, and then they are sealed and taken to the, for example, at the polling center at the ward, there is a form that is filled in that shows each candidate what they have been able to get. Then from there they go to the constituency tallying center, where the returning officer is able to undertake the announcement of the ward representatives and the members of parliament. And then from there it goes to the county tallying center, where the announcement for the women representative, the senate, and the governors take place. After that, then there is the transmission of the presidential vote to the national tallying center.
So, what are some of those measures, should you be successful to be IBC chair, that you would propose to ensure that there is accuracy and transparency of results during the counting and tallying processes?
The accuracy and tallying of results, for it to be transparent, starts right from the pre-election period, because we need to do election with documents or registers that are up to date, so that if somebody comes for voting, their names are available in the manner in which they have already been registered. So transparency. Then the use of technology in identification of the voters. We already use technology, but how best can it be? How best can it be done so that when somebody comes in, they are able to be identified digitally? And then transmission. Currently, the only transmission that is done online is the presidential one. So I think we should, relying on the tech that we already have, how do we improve on it so that all the elections, all the 6 elections are transmitted online, and the counting is also online, but it tallies with what has been proposed in what has been written, handwritten, because of course we would need a backup, and systems fail sometimes, so we always have to rely on the backup that is there, but we work on having stringent measures on those issues.
So how do you propose to address some of those challenges that come with the delay or disputes in the transmission of results?
First is to identify what is causing them. Is it a technological challenge, for example? Where I come from, sometimes there is net failure. So before the elections, are we able to identify areas where the signals or the data, do we require backup or something? Electricity that is being used, or the equipment, does it have backup on electricity, so that once you know that this system is supposed to work for a certain period of time and you're relying on something, there are areas that do not have this thing. So we need to plan ahead to be able to work on these things. And how do you do it? You're already communicating with stakeholders in this organizations, whether it is the network service providers, whether it is the electricity generating companies, or if the place requires, backup generator or solar is something that has been pre-planned and it's already being done. That is on the issue of first identification and transmission. Then the security of it after the counting and during the transit of the ballot boxes to the constituency tallying center. I think tight security has to be given to these staff who are taking these things. But the best would be to employ on technology so that as you carry the physical ballot boxes to the tallying center, then you are able to transmit your results immediately, so that we are talking about real-time receiving of results for all elections that have been done.
Thank you, ma'am, and I wish you the very best. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to Ambassador Koki, please. Ambassador.
Thank you, Chair. And karibu sana, Madam Jatani. Listening to you, I am very pleased to hear some of the issues that you have associated with what you are bringing in as a member of the IEBC. If you are successful, I want to share with you what we have been receiving from Kenyans. Kenyans want us to select commissioners, the chair and members of the IEBC with absolute integrity, who will help Kenya enhance or restore the credentials, the democratic credentials of IEBC, and arrest some of the challenges that we have experienced. One of the critical challenges has been with regard to the register of voters. And the register of voters has been identified to have serious problems, and one of them is lack of accuracy. It's not current. And also the necessity to establish the veracity of the content of that register of voters. If you are successful as a member, how are you going to help us, number one, re-establish integrity, and not my words, but from Kenyans, and the democratic credentials of IEBC? And number two, the recommendations you will have to ensure the voters' register is current, accurate, and verifiable. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Koki. The issue of the voter register is one that, of course, just as rightly put by the Kenyans, have been challenged most of the time. What entails voter registration and what entails that has to come out at that time? I think we need to leverage on technology. We also need partnership with the existing organizations. Our voter register, the current way of doing things is you register as a voter, but you will not know whether you have already registered or not until after a certain time, or a certain period of time. So how do we manage this register to make it real time? Technologies do exist. I've talked about working as a banker previously. When you are changing from the core banking systems, some of the things that had been identified is like the issue of a client registering for account opening a certain branch away from the headquarter, and then all these form files have to come to the headquarter so that it is
Let me clarify this. What I'm looking from you is strategies or recommendations to ensure that the voters register is accurate, current, comprehensive, and verifiable. What the voters register itself, not the process of registration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think you use tech. Then you work with the existing institutions, like the registrar of the civil registry for deaths and births, so that you can audit the register, so that if there are dead persons who are already existing in the register, they can be removed. And then using the information we get from the department that issues IDs, so that we know the number of people who have been issued with IDs and the correct details. First, then, we need also to enhance our internal auditing, an internal auditor. If you internally audit it properly, then you can also have it done externally. Then you use bodies that do audit, like the international bodies like Deloitte & Touche, KPMG. They can be able to guide us. And immediately a recommendation is made by the external auditors, then you incorporate it in that register. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And lastly, how will you personally, as a member of the panel, as a member of the IEBC, if successful, bring integrity and restore the democratic credentials of IEBC?
The IEBC is guided by the laws. So it's working within the laws that govern the IEBC itself. The laws that constituted the IEBC, that is the Constitution, the IEBC Act, and the Code of Conduct of Work that has been placed by the organization. The other one is to be able, it's personal integrity, to be able to be accountable to the people of Kenya, to be able to be transparent, and to be able to communicate any issues that come up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Jatani. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. I ask FCPA Tanui to ask you some questions. Kindly, FCPA.
Thank you, Chair. And Alamitu, you told us you're the chairperson of. No, you are the first. You are calling it first, ladies. You are
association.
The chairperson. Does your membership include a first gentleman?
Yes.
It does, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you've talked of two key skills. You've talked of finance and corporate governance. True? Those are the two skills that you're bringing on board. You've appointed as a commissioner at IEBC. So let's look at finance skills. And we've noted that one of the functions of IEBC is to oversee the spending, spending by candidates during the election period. How much money the candidates are spending in their campaigns. So first of all, what is your understanding of the role of IEBC in that process? And what is the current status in as far as campaign financing is concerned?
Thank you. The role of IEBC is in line with the IEBC Act and the Political Parties Act to give guidelines on how much a candidate is supposed to spend in an election, and at all levels differently. My understanding is it's not being done as it should be. But if the candidates are trained, they are aware of the repercussions of not doing it, and they know the law as it should be, then this can be enforced, because it is an issue that has a ripple effect on the election itself.
Okay. So secondly, you will appreciate that We are now selecting the entire team of chairperson and members of Iebc. And therefore, the entire team of 7, the chairperson and 6 members, will be new. So what strategies will you put in place to ensure that within the next 1.5 years, this team that will have been selected and appointed will be able to offer us a credible, free and fair elections in 2027?
Thank you. The team that will be selected will come from diverse backgrounds and diverse geographical areas. The first assignment, I think, through the chair and then the chair of the Iebc at that time will be bringing the team together to have an understanding of the roles that are, they already know the roles that are expected of them, but in-depth relationship on how they will work in their different interpersonal skills. So first you train them on what needs to be done. Number 2 is bringing them to speed, having like a team building activity to also come and plan together on the activities that are outstanding. I think the commissioners and the chairmen already know are already aware on the items that are still outstanding and that needed to be done, so that they sit together, plan together, decide together on ways that they can be, these issues can be achieved, because some of them are time bound. And for the chair and the panel, mutual respect and issues that arise, how do you bring cohesiveness between, and you understand from the word go, because sometimes it's not everything when the team is working together they agree on, but how do you work towards making it like a consensus every time an issue comes up, and to make it understand, because I think it's a short time before election, and you do not want a scenario where people are pulling in different directions. So training, teamwork, and engaging with other stakeholders also, including the Secretariat, capacity building of the team itself on areas that they require will make it happen. Thank you.
Wish you well, and thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Madam Jatani, just to follow up on that question, I'm assuming that His Excellency Mahmoud Ali has future ambitions in politics. Just in case he finds himself on a presidential ticket, how, or on a senator's ticket in the next elections, how will you make this to happen as a commissioner so that elections are free and fair?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the question. And for the record, we discussed this issue with His Excellency, and he has no political ambition. But in case he has, because he's a human being and he can be able to change his mind, he's already served his second term and finishing, then I'll be guided by the principles that govern every other person in the election. And I would expect, if he is standing in a region, for example, that I will be the one supervising, I would excuse myself so that there is no issue of partiality. As a person, I should be led by the rule of law, impartiality. I should be able to openly declare if there is any interest and an issue that comes up on the table. And that way, I will be upholding what the Commission stands for: free, fair, and credible elections.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Ati.
Thanks so much, Madam Alamitu. I wanted to ask you a question related to the term of office of the commissioners and that of the Secretariat. You are aware, if you find favor in this panel and you are appointed, your term of office will be 6 years. And the term of office of the CEO, who is the head of the Secretariat, is 5 years. So how would you align, or what will you do to ensure that the alignment of the term of office does not bring conflict?
Thank you. Number one, in the scenario we are in right now, the CEO of the Secretariat is already in office. And the IEBC commissioners will be coming in, meaning he will be leaving earlier than the Secretariat itself. But there are clear guidelines on the role of each of the Secretariat and the Commission itself. The Commission is discharged with the oversight role on policy formulation and oversight, and the Secretariat is discharged in doing the duties that are done. I believe the CEO will be working with the staff that are there who will be having institutional memory. Then there is a strategic plan that the IEBC should have. So whoever comes to the office, the strategic plan guides on issues that need priority, on issues that have to be done. Unless it's like a constitutional crisis that can happen, I don't know which one, but the strategic plan now guides on the items that have to be undertaken. And I believe by the time whoever's term is ending, whether not in this case, but in future, the commissioner's term will be the one coming up late or the other way, all this information, and there's a plan towards having a continuous, successful way of handing from one commissioner to the other or from one CEO to the other. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Now, Kenyans, they understand that the commissioners of IPC, they're the ones who are answerable to them. So how do you ensure, as commissioners, that you are in charge, or rather, how do you supervise the day-to-day administrative and operational work of the Secretariat, so that since you are the people who Kenyans know, you are the face of the Commission, you can be able to take charge and be able to account for the actions of the Secretariat?
Thank you for the question. For the commissioners to work, there exists how they work together. So there will be committees in the Commission that are discharged with different responsibilities. So as the Secretariat is working, each of the committees supervises a certain activity. For example, if it is the Human Resource Committee, the Voter Registration Committee, Policy Formulation Committee, all the committees will be able to supervise what is being done by the Secretariat, and they are kept up to date so that they are able to, when we are together, we are able to present the issues and are aware of what is going on the other side. So I believe there will be creation of committees. Thank you.
Thanks so much, and I wish you well. Asante.
Asante.
Allow me to ask Ms. Fatuma Saman to also ask you some questions. Fatuma, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Alamitu, what measures or safeguards do you think IEBC should put in place to ensure effective stakeholder engagement and maintaining its independence while at it?
Thank you for the question. IEBC first needs to identify who are its stakeholders, because different stakeholders will require different ways of approach. In this case, we are thinking about the government, the civil society, the faith-based organization, the youth, and all these people. So for IEBC to safeguard this information, we know that IEBC is independent, but you are independent but also accountable. So how do you communicate issues that you are undertaking? For example, if you are having a voter registration process, how do you communicate to the people on what's going on? What does this group of stakeholders want to know? So you bring openness, transparency, you use the rule of law, you are diverse in the people you want to talk to. The different sectors, whether male, female, persons living with disabilities, the marginalized, all these people. So, and then at the end of the day, the openness, fairness, and transparency will guide you so that they are not caught off guard.
Thank you. And what are some of the important things that the IEBC must do in order never to compromise its independence? What are the safeguards?
Number one, it should be guided by the Constitution, which is the rule of the 2010 Constitution and other governing laws, the election laws, the IEBC law, and every time they are undertaking their activity, they are able to refer to that. Thank you.
Just a little bit to engage you further. If, for instance, they are to seek funding for activities, what activities do you think would not compromise the credibility of its operations and that they can actually seek funds elsewhere?
Just clarity, funding from another institution other than the government?
Yes, other than the government. Let's say the development partners.
Thank you. I think, first of all, each institution or the Secretariat, there are issues that they can write proposals that they can be helped to be able to get that funding. But as you write a proposal to any organization, you need to know, does it have any ulterior motive? Is it an organization that can change the integrity of the organization, or are they people that can be able to to change the perception? For example, while I would say the organization which you would ask for funding to help you in voter education, then you should clearly say what type of education and guidelines to be conveyed by these people, so that during the process in which they are helping you do this thing, they don't influence. Number two, they can give you the funding, but they are not the people undertaking the activity. It is done by the organization itself. So separating the funding from the institution, knowing whether they have any ulterior motives, can help. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I now invite Nicodemus Bore to ask you some questions, please.
Thank you, Chair. Madam Jatani, I'm picking up from what Chanui left about the chairperson of County's First Ladies Association. Where are men in the name? Because you just said chairperson of County's First Ladies. Wouldn't you change the name to be First Ladies and Gentlemen Association?
Thank you. That's a question I get quite often. This is an organization that was started in 2013. At that time, all the governors were male. But in the description of the name, it says the membership is open to all spouses of elected governors in Kenya. We have been having conversations amongst ourselves, because this is a question that keeps coming up on how to be able to change the name. But as per the description, the men are included. And for your information, they are part of our association, and that's why I told you we were in Kirinyaga the other day to open a cancer center. Thank you.
So when they introduce themselves, for example, if you have a vice chair, example, if Odam Solo is a vice chair, you will say he's the vice chair of the First Ladies Association of Kenya.
I think it's one of those associations or areas in which male are minor, and actually they feel intimidated in the whole issue. But in most cases, they've been the few times they have come, they have raised this issue, and it's a conversation we are having. They are members for now, and the programs that we undertake together.
Okay. So where do you get your funding?
We write proposals. We also talk to organizations that are in the country in line with an activity that we want to advocate for. For example, in the issue of the cancer space that we talk about, there were 5 organizations that came together to be able to advance that agenda, each bringing different ideas. For example, we had the Women for Cancer, which was an organization that helped us in the issues of screening. Then there was another organization that helped us in dissemination of information, African Cancer Foundation. Then we had another organization called Roche. They brought in equipment. So the pooling of resources together to achieve what we were looking for. Not really funding in cash per se sometimes, but in kind to achieve what we were looking for. Thank you.
So as we look for the member to join the Iebc Commission, we have the tenets of the Constitution under Chapter 6 as the guiding principle of leadership and integrity. What are those? What are these key guiding principles?
That a person must be a person with highest level of integrity, upholds outstanding ethical standards, and conforms with the rule of law, has not been prosecuted,
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Professor Adams. Prof, kindly.
Madam First Lady, let me follow a little bit from where Bore has left. When Gen Z erupted last year, one of their demands was that the First Lady office, I don't know what it's called, the Prime Minister's spouse, the Second Lady, that those were superfluous offices that should be done away with. Were your offices also affected in that demand?
Thank you, Prof, for the question. For the records, ours is not a constitutional office, and we do not draw any funding from the exchequer. We just pulled ourselves together for the common goal, and as I just explained, we work on partnership to be able to move forward our agenda. So we were not affected.
Thank you very much. You are aware that a memorandum was written to us. You also wrote an affidavit in response. I want you to tell, before I go into it, would you care to tell us what happened on that particular day that the memorandum is talking about? From your part, what exactly happened?
Thank you, Prof. And thank you, members of the channel, the panel, for giving me this opportunity. The memorandum or memorandums.
The three, yeah.
The three. Just for the records, I would actually want to state first, while there were 3 signed memorandums, the content, the date, the advocate who signed for all those 3 is the same. That in itself leaves a lot of questions to be answered. Having said that, on the day of 24th April 2024, officers from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission visited our home. The officers identified themselves and they gave me a letter addressed to His Excellency Muhammad Ali, who is my spouse. They told me to read it and acknowledge it. After reading, they wanted access to our house to do a search. As a law-abiding Kenyan, I signed for that and I gave them access to the premises. These officers conducted themselves in a very professional way. They did their search, finished, and their documents they collected. They asked me to accompany them to their offices to sign for the inventory of the documents they collected from my house. The lead officer assured me that I was not under arrest. I was not under investigation. All I needed is to sign for the inventory in the absence of my husband. I followed them, I signed for the inventory, and came back home. So for the records, I was never arrested. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You are aware, as Ambassador Koki said, that in recruiting the IEBC commissioners, one of the issues we are looking at is persons with integrity. So you understand why we have to do this. I'm looking at your affidavit in response. At paragraph 6, you repeat exactly what you have said, that I am not the subject of any criminal or corruption investigations as alleged in the aforementioned affidavits, that neither have I been arrested nor charged pursuant to any investigations, correct? At paragraph 7, you say that I was not arrested as alleged. On the contrary, my home was visited when investigations were being conducted in respect of the county of Marsabit, where my husband serves as the current governor. I only accompanied the police to sign the inventory over the goods obtained from my home, as the law requires that the same be detailed and signed for. Again, correct, as you have just stated. You go ahead at paragraph 9, that in any event, the allegations raised are at best baseless and inconclusive, correct? At 10 is where my concern starts to arise, and I want you to clarify to the panel that I am alive to the fact that the law dictates that I am entitled to a fair hearing under Article 47 and 50 of the Constitution, which guarantees due process before any adverse action can be taken against me. Are you talking there generally, or is there a live case that you want us to be aware of and we should respect? Article 47 and 50.
It's a general case, because when you look at the sworn affidavits, they go ahead and say that I may not be able to discharge my duties because I will be torn in between.
Is there
no
a live case?
No, it's a general. Actually, from there on, it's general.
Okay. At 11, you say that no final determination has been made against me. This final determination is on what?
I think the legal person who was helping me in drafting that was preempting what those people were insinuating, that in any case, if whatever they were insinuating is true, there are procedures that needed to be followed. And in this case,
but
I'm
you
not...
know, the way it is here, it's like there is a live case that a final determination has not been made on. This is your own affidavit.
I actually addressed it to him, and then he told me it's about that is the procedure in which I needed to respond.
At paragraph 12, you say that an investigation in itself is not equivalent to a finding of guilt. Which is this investigation going on?
As I said, Prof, all those items up to, I think, number 15 or something, I asked the legal person what they meant, and he said, in the event that even such a thing happens, these are the guiding laws, and what they put as a finality in the affidavit, that I should not be considered for the appointment, cannot suffice even if there was something, leave alone when there is no something.
You are aware that the way you are addressing us, we'll take it the way you are addressing us. At paragraph 13, that under the principles of natural justice and rule of law, I can only be deemed guilty if found so, after exhausting all legal remedies available to me, including but not limited to appeals and reviews by competent legal institutions. Just plain reading, it's like there's something on and you are putting your case to us that we should not judge you until you finish it. Just plain reading. Again, and then lastly, at paragraph 15, that any attempt to make adverse action against me before the due conclusion of legal proceedings violates my constitutional rights and the president. You're talking in first word, before the due conclusion. Which is this investigation or case that a conclusion has not? These are your own words.
Yeah, I know I was advised by a legal person, and I raised the same questions you are raising.
So, as far as you are concerned,
there is nothing that is going
there's
on.
no case, whether criminal or economic, that is alive with you?
No.
Thank you. My last question.
Can I just...
Sure.
Madam Jatani, do you know who Burka Ventures is?
I've heard about him.
And do you know who Northern City Coaches Limited is?
Yes.
Has there been an exchange of money between those two individuals?
No. For the records, I was a director of Burka Ventures Limited. Burka Ventures Limited is a transport and logistics company that plies the Moyale-Nairobi route. It's a company that had its own offices and it was working on its own. But at no point did it receive any money from the stated company.
Did Burka Ventures receive any money from the county government of Marsabit?
I don't know.
Okay, please proceed.
My last question to you, Madam Jatani. What are the key guiding principles of leadership and integrity as defined under Chapter 6 of the Constitution, under Article 73(2), if you are aware?
That a person should be of utmost integrity. They should not have been how do I put it? They should not be convicted for a case, any criminal case. They should comply with all the rules and the regulations of the country.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Carol?
Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Alamitu, just to clarify, are you a director of Burka Ventures or Northern City Coaches?
Northern City Coaches.
Because I heard you tell the chairman that you are a director
of Northern City Coaches.
So what is your relationship with Burka Ventures?
She said she was a director at Burka Ventures before.
And you're also a director at Northern City?
No, I am a director of Northern City Coaches Limited, where I had a logistic company that plies the Nairobi Moyale route. At no point did Burka Ventures pay any money to Northern City Coaches.
That's fine. My question is, do you have any relationship with Burka Ventures?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Prof, please come back again with some questions.
Yes, Madam Jatani, I saw your very elaborate answers on the electoral process and voter registration. What is the maximum number of voters in a single polling station?
700.
Name any 3 former justices of the Supreme Court of Kenya.
Justice Maraga, former Evans Kisheru. Yeah, that's what I can remember for now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Alamitu. It's been a great pleasure to meet you, to interact, to hear you speak very eloquently about your desire to become a member of the Commission. I'd like to give you time to ask a question or any concern or a comment, if you so like, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members of the panel. I don't have a question, but I would like to make a comment that I thank you for giving me this opportunity and the manner in which the whole process has been conducted, even with the issues that have been raised. I would also want to wish you luck. It's not easy. Inshallah, we hope we get the best from this election panel. Thank you.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. Please remember to pick your certificates and have a blessed Eid al-Fitr. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. We now will take a brief recess. So we ask the media to down their tools for a few moments. We'll be back at 11:30 to pick up on the next candidate. Thank you very much and appreciate it.